What's up everybody, SuperDucks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2015 BMW 535i xDrive M Sport. Huge thanks to Jonathon for allowing me to review his very clean and very nicely done 535 here for you guys today. So about the 535, well, largely unchanged here, since 2011. Looks very good though still. I especially like the M Sport package here, which gives you that more aggressive front bumper there and the sportier wheels, and in the back there, it looks mostly the same as other 5 Series, but still just it gives a little bit more of an edge to make these a little more aggressive looking, because they are, a little bit on the milder side as far as BMWs go, and it is the, the larger one, it's the more conservative one, but it does look very good here, with the M Sport package. I think that makes a big difference over a standard 5 Series. And overall though, the 5 Series is a very nice, it's a very understated yet very elegant looking car still that I think has aged very well over the years, and even here in the 2015 model year still looks very good. First, for the interior of the 535i, well, it's a very nice place to be. So anyway, first things first, though, sitting down in these seats, very nice leather seats. The texture of the leather just is so soft and smooth, and just some of the nicest leather seats I've encountered in recent memory. And I love the stitching, especially the little stitch detail there on the seat back that is really just nice, and I love the white contrast. There's a very nicely spec'd 535 here. I just really like these seats in this interior. As far as the seat shape though, they're pretty good. So obviously this is on the relaxed side and luxury kind of side to it. So the bolstering though is pretty good. It's certainly wide though, not extremely sporty or anything like that, but they are seats that hug you in reasonably well, and are, of course, are very comfortable. Next is the steering wheel in the 535. Now, of course, this being the M Sport package, you have the M Sport wheel here, which is just really great, very similar to all the other M product steering wheels, and just a very nice thick wheel. Really a perfect 9-3 grip, though. It's very comfortable. Nice 10-2 notches as well, and again, more of this great same smooth leather that just feels really great to touch. And you have a few buttons here, some plastic, some metal, and overall, though, just a very nicely designed wheel, and not overly cluttered, and just feels great. Next is the gauges in the 535, which are pretty good. So I always kind of like the digital portion that these have at the bottom, but I'm looking forward to the whenever BMW does full digital gauges like in the i8 and stuff like that, because these ones are still good, just not overly exciting, but they're typical BMW gauges. They're very clear, easy to read. They have had a style that they've stuck to all these decades, and they still are sticking to it here, just modernized, of course, for those digital portions there on the bottom. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, more of the same typical BMW styling that anyone that's familiar with any BMW in the past 10 years, should feel right at home in this here. It is, of course, nicely updated here for 2015. You have a very high-resolution widescreen display up top here. That I really like how you can display the weather and things like that, and of course, the navigation maps, all those all look very good, and typical iDrive system, that works very well. Anyone who's encountered these before, it's all the same great stuff there. And then the iDrive controller, I do appreciate the little shortcuts that they have now for them. Coming down to the rest of the controls here, though, of course, very similar again to all the other BMWs here, same styling language. But you have the CD tray kind of area here with a nice volume knob that feels pretty good. I wish there was a dedicated tune knob, but you don't have that unless you go into the iDrive here and tune it through the iDrive controller on the radio menu there, but still nice to have that nonetheless. And then coming down to the climate controls, all your same great stuff you get in all the other BMWs here. The buttons have a good feel to them and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise though, you just have a sport and comfort toggle here, and a few other buttons, and very nice BMW shifters they've had here for many years now that I really still like the design of it to this day. It looks very nice. As far as storage space in the 535, it's pretty good. So first things first, you have a nice map pocket here, and the door it does not have a bottle holder, but pretty good size there. But as far as holding bottles, you do have the 2 cup holders here in the center, as well as a power outlet right there, and they're a nice size, and so good to have those. And then coming back here, you have a little coin holder / slash ashtray type thing. And then you have the center armrest, which again has more of this really nice leather that I really like. And anyway, you open that up and it opens, you know, splits in the middle, which is always cool too. And you have a pretty good size, you know, center console in there. You also have an auxiliary jack, a USB jack, and another power outlet in there. So good to have all that. And as far as, you know, the back seat goes in this vehicle, it's very spacious and roomy. That's really one of the great things about the 5 Series here is it's just a very spacious back seat. I mean, I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself, I have probably 4 inches or so of legroom, I'd say. And it just feels very airy. You feel like you have lots of room, not just in the legs, but also, of course, plenty of headroom. And it just feels like a very nice, spacious, comfortable back seat. Trunk space in the 535, all the 5 Series, they have one of the, I think, the best trunk probably in its class. A very roomy trunk, very nicely sized, and just a really great trunk, you know, for fitting in multiple people's, you know, luggage and all that kind of stuff without a problem. Very versatile and usable trunk there. All right, so start up and go for a drive. Typical BMW key here, you know, keyless entry, push button start is all very nice. So you just leave that in your pocket, hit the engine start button, and it starts right up. All right, so setting off in the 2015 BMW 535i xDrive with the M Sport package. So we're on this bumpy park road here, and it's actually a very smooth ride. That's one thing you notice right off the bat, as you would expect from, you know, a luxury car, a mid-sized luxury car too. Just very, you know, that was a really deep pothole, and you could feel it a little bit, but it actually soaks it up very well. So very smooth and refined ride. Other things you notice, that visibility is pretty good. So you know, with the seat in the position where I am, I'm sitting a little bit lower here. So you do have this dash pad here. It comes up a little bit high by the cluster, but you know, you can look out over it still very easily. You have the heads-up display as well to see very well there. And but yeah, the hood drops down nicely. You have good visibility out of the sides. You do have a pretty good B-pillar there, but again, being a 4-door, it's easy to see around. Not a big deal there. And with all the safety tech, you know, blind spot monitoring, all that kind of stuff, certainly helps with all that. View out of the back is great as well. Other things that you notice are that you know, the transmission is very smooth with its shifts, and so upshifts, you can hardly even tell that it's upshifting. Honestly, it's very, very impressive whenever you're just cruising in a relaxed fashion. All right, so let's turn onto this back road here and see how it does. There we go. Took a minute to get the idea, but once it did, it got up and went really well. So we got a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 in the 535i that has 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque as well. So it's a good amount of power. 0 to 60 time is about 5.4 seconds here, and the all-wheel drive, of course, helps to put all the power down. And yeah, it's you know, it's about 4,090 pounds. So you know, it's a little bit of heft to, you know, get up and go, but it's not too bad, honestly. Put the transmission into sport mode now and see how it does. There we go. That time I figured it out a lot quicker. So yeah, if you're gonna go full throttle though, definitely just be in sport mode and then you are good. So yeah, now it's holding the RPMs better here in sport mode. Definitely the mode of choice for the enthusiast. So as we're cruising on a main road here though now, it's a very nice thing to drive. Just very smooth and refined like you would expect from a BMW 5 Series. And it's just a very relaxing experience whenever you're not putting your foot to the floor. And yeah, it just drives nice. Very quiet for the most part. You know, there isn't really any road noise to speak of. You know, I mean, it's mild like any other vehicle, but you know, very refined feeling in here. Now, although this one is the M Sport package, it does not have paddle shifters. That is an additional option that was not specified on this car. So this one doesn't have paddle shifters. Honestly, though, not having paddles, it feels better as far as holding the wheel goes. But of course, it does limit, you know, your ability to play around with this transmission, though, of course, because you can manually shift it here, you know, with the stock here on the, you know, the gear shift lever. But it's just a little old school, I suppose, as far as, you know, these days everything has paddle shifters, and so this just feels a little weird. But you know, it does, whenever you do manually downshift and stuff though, it does shift down pretty quickly. Let's try some upshifts here with the automatic. Oh, it's quick. Yeah, it's really quick. I think if you like shifting yourself, then you're going to enjoy this 8-speed. It's the, I think it's the ZF 8-speed actually that, you know, is in other BMWs. It's spectacular. I really enjoyed it even back in the 428 and also in some of the other, you know, BMWs that I've tested in the past. I mean, downshifts are so quick, everything. This is a really awesome transmission. So if you enjoy shifting manually, just be sure you get the paddle shifters as an option. Going around some tighter corners here now. And this thing, it's really amazing how it transforms, especially in sport mode here, but with this M Sport suspension, it's really just a perfect blend of luxury whenever you're just cruising, but once you turn it up a notch here and want to go around a back road, I mean, this engine, it keeps it in the meat of the power band. It feels plenty quick. It doesn't feel slow by any means. And this handling though, it's just really, really nice. I mean, I like, the steering is a little bit more relaxed than I would like, but it has a good resistance to it, so that it feels really good and it fits this car. It feels like a luxury car steering setup still, but it's just sporty enough. It really does feel like just the M Sport version. It's not an M5 or anything, but it really is a nice blend. I like it a lot, and like I said, this handling is really, really good. Another acceleration. Yeah, this thing really gets up and goes well. And it hides its weight really well. For 4,090 pounds, I'm going around these corners here that, can make a car feel heavy. And honestly, this feels very light on its feet. As far as, considering it's 4,000 pounds. I mean, it certainly doesn't feel like a Lotus Elise, but it is really, I mean, it feels lighter than 4,000 pounds, that's for sure. So, I mean, it feels more like a car that weighs maybe 3,500 pounds or so, I would say. So, very impressive job there. And honestly, I don't know if it's the M Sport suspension or what, but, I reviewed a 335 that didn't have an M Sport suspension, and I was really a little let down by that suspension setup. It just was really sloppy and not very aggressive or sporty at all, and very BMW, very unlike a BMW, honestly. This feels like a BMW should. It's luxurious, but it still has the ultimate driving machine kind of feel to it. It's very sharp, and it plays that Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing very, very well. And this is definitely the suspension to get if you're going to go for a standard 5 Series. I would definitely do the M Sport package because this feels great. But anyway, I'm going to drive this around for a little while longer here, and I'll come back and give you guys some of my final impressions. Alright, so I've been driving the 535 here for a little while longer, and I gotta say, I really enjoy this power plant. It just feels way faster than you'd expect. And other things to note, the more that I've been driving it here now, the throttle response is pretty good. All BMWs have a little bit of a dead travel right at the top of the pedal, and then you start getting into it, and then it starts kicking in. Speaking of kicking in though, this turbo though, it comes on pretty early here, and this 8-speed is so quick and so smart about, being in the right gear all the time that you never catch it off guard. Some other automatics, it'll really be caught off guard. And now it is in sport mode, so it's ready and primed to go, but it's, I really like how quick this thing just downshifts and will immediately give you the power that you want right off the bat. And so it's really an enjoyable thing, although I still do wish that these BMWs had a little bit of a sharper throttle response. But as we're slowing down to a stop here, the brakes also feel very good. You have very good engagement right at the top of the pedal, which I always love about a lot of these BMWs. And so yeah, they're just very, confidence-inspiring brakes, even though this is a pretty heavy car. Again, everything feels very evenly matched. But yeah, so otherwise, I mean, other final thoughts on the 5 Series here. It is a really amazing car, and there's a good reason why it's so well respected and loved by so many, because it does everything so well. And honestly, I think I would call it the best in its segment, unless you consider the Cadillac CT-SV. I think that has sharper turn-in and a little bit more of a lively chassis than this does, but it also is very comfortable and luxurious whenever you are just cruising along. And so again, it just comes down to personal preference. I mean, the styling on the two cars is very different and all that kind of stuff. So, that's the great thing about, all these great sports sedans we have to choose from, is you can choose the one that fits you and your personality just right. But I do think that the CTS probably handles a little bit better better. This still does handle very well, though. Like I said, feels lighter than it actually is, much lighter than it actually is. And it's just a really nice driving car whenever you're just cruising around. Plenty of power as well. And so yeah, overall, just a really great car. And I think this transmission, though, can't be beat. This 8-speed is so quick in this car that, you know, especially if you had paddles or something, it would make it even more fun. And like I said, it's just a really amazing transmission as well. But yeah, so that's basically all my thoughts here on the BMW 535i with the M Sport package. So let me know your thoughts on the 535s here. Thank you guys very much for watching, and huge thanks once again to Jonathon again for letting me review his BMW here for you guys today. Anyway, thank you guys once again very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.